That is an eclectic and fascinating mix of facts. From ancient history and classical music to modern pop culture and desert biology, there is a lot of main character energy in that list. Based on those prompts, I've woven them into a 10-minute story, reading time approx. 3 to 4 minutes, about a very strange day in London. The elephant in the showroom. The morning sun beat down on the pavement of Jermyn Street, but inside the showroom of Andrew Grima, the air was cool and smelled of expensive silver. The interior was a fever dream, pure Barbarella meets Bond villain lair, with jagged stone walls and geometric displays that looked more like moon crystals than jewelry cases. Standing in the center of the room was Mike Sutar. He wasn't looking at the gems, he was staring at a business plan with the same terrifying intensity that had recently made him go viral on TikTok. The numbers don't add up, Sutar muttered, tapping a forensic finger on a spreadsheet. You're claiming a 400% margin on shrimp-flavored energy bars? Across from him, the legendary food critic Craig Cliburn sighed. He was only there because he was convinced that if he so much as whispered the word shrimp in public, Myra Waldo would be contacted by every publisher in New York to write the definitive cookbook on the subject before he could even finish his lunch. A sudden interruption, the heavy, vault-like doors swung open. In walked a man who looked remarkably like the actor John Noble. Are you John Noble? Sutar asked, narrowing his eyes. I am guest starring as John Noble, the man replied cryptically, playing the role of an Australian actor named John Noble. I'm here for the audition. Before Sutar could investigate the logic of that statement, a frantic rhythm began to thumping through the hidden speakers of the showroom. It was Aram Khachaturian's Sabre Dance, but it wasn't the orchestral version. It was the distorted high-voltage UK rock hit version from the 60s. As the music peaked, a young man named Brandon Arrington, who had recently shattered track records held by Noah Lyles, sprinted past the window at a pace that seemed physically impossible for a human. He was being chased by something even more improbable. The Great Escape. Trotting behind the sprinter was a Nubian ibex. It looked remarkably unbothered by the London heat, its thick skin protecting it from the solar radiation bouncing off the glass buildings. It paused at the showroom door, its rectangular pupils scanning the Bond villain decor with a judgmental air. This is chaos, Cliburn lamented. It's amateur hour. It's beta. Don't use that word, a voice piped up from the corner. It was a man in a toga, clutching a scroll. It was Eratosthenes, the ancient librarian of Alexandria. They called me Beta because they said I was second best at everything. But at least I didn't design a transit station with a sculpture of a circus elephant balancing on a tree trunk. Everyone turned to look at the street. Indeed, a flatbed truck was idling outside, carrying a rejected sculpture from the Federal Way downtown station. The elephant, cast in bronze and wobbling precariously on a metal stump, seemed to be nodding along to the rock and roll saber dance. The verdict? Sutar looked at the business plan, then at the actor, then at the ancient librarian, and finally at the ibex. I've done the forensic investigation, Sutar announced, snapping his briefcase shut. This day is a logistical nightmare. The overhead is too high, the casting is confusing, and the lead athlete is overqualified. He walked toward the door, pausing only to look at the Nubian ibex. But the goat? The goat has a solid survival strategy. Invest in the goat.